Hey y'all, make sure I'm looking good. It says I'm live. Am I? Hey, there I am. Money Positive is streaming. I'm gonna actually keep an eye on the chat today, just on the off chance anyone shows up, because today I want to focus on Q&A. I've got a couple questions already, and yeah, so sorry, let me step back. Hey, it's Weil at Money Positive. Uh, Tune in every week as I talk about uh, finance and issues related to personal finance, which is most issues in life. And uh, I've just got a few questions from folks that I'm going to go over today, rather than any one particular topic. I put out something yesterday saying like, "Hey, I'm going live at 11:30 Central Time here in Austin. I'm a little late. Sorry about that. Stuff with clients always comes up, but I am here." And I'm going to do Q&A for the next few minutes. So let's see what we've got. Uh, I'm going to preface by saying I'm not going to share anyone's identity, and I might paraphrase some things. And also, like, if you're watching this later and I'm answering your question, know that my response isn't specifically about you. I'm not telling you to do something. I'm not, like, judging something about you or your question. I'm answering things just very generally, not generically, generally based on 7 years of experience helping hundreds of different people who all have very similar issues, because we all have issues with money. Let's see, the first question, let's see. Asking for a friend. What's the deal with habitual budget breakers and your best advice for them? That's a great question. So we build budgets in a very specific way at Money Positive, where we, rather than doing transactional analysis. So, like, if you've ever done Mint or You Need a Budget or just made your own spreadsheet, what most people do is uh, look at everything that they've spent money on, like how much did I spend on groceries, how much did I spend on coffee, how much did I spend on gas, and usually, like, kind of analyze it, kind of judge it a little bit, and look at, like, analyze their budget in that way. We don't take that approach exactly. We look at budgets based on how much do people have coming in, how much do they have to spend based on, like, their rent or mortgage and car payments, childcare, yada yada yada, and then what do they have left to spend and what do they have left to save. So, like, what's coming in minus bills equals money that's left for spending and saving. And so we decide how much people can spend, rather than saying you spent $700 on groceries. We say you've got this much money. Like, if someone made $5,000 a month, we might tell them, okay, spend 1,500. You can spend every dime of it, and however you spend it is your prerogative. And uh, you know, we people go over all the time. I go over my own budget all the time. So first thing I would say is to not beat oneself up too much over it. Where I would um, look at it is like, if you're never hitting the number, then maybe it's the wrong number. And I would care much more about someone finding the number that is right for them, like their discretionary budget that they can stick to. If I told someone to spend $1,500 and they can never do it, but we realize like 1,700 would work just fine for them. Maybe it means they're not saving as aggressively. But what happens when people don't have the right number? They blow past the number that we decided to try. They blow past 1,500, and oops, they spent 3,000. I would much rather someone purposefully go a little bit over budget than say fuck it and uh, ignore the budget entirely. So it might not be the right, you're like, one's number might not be right. And it's more important to find the number. Doing some transactional, this can be a good case for doing some transactional analysis and see like where the money's going. A lot of times when people tell me, oh, Lewis, I went way over my budget, we look at their budget and realize that they're putting things in the discretionary that I never intended for there to be in there, like medical stuff. I never put medical stuff in discretionary. You should never be picking between your groceries and your wellness. Like, put your wellness stuff in with the bills and don't put it in the same card that you do your discretionary out of. A lot of times people put like, home repairs and, flat tires and stuff in that category. And just, the things of life that come up maybe shouldn't be in there either, and maybe they just need to be accounted for differently. So a lot of the times, like, just there's stuff in there that is, you're being hard on yourself by including it in discretionary when it wasn't really discretionary. Like, discretionary stuff, you have some are things where you have some control over when and where you do them. Like, we all have to buy food and gas up our cars if we drive. But we have some control over when and where we shop and eat and how often we drive and how far. Um, so uh, looking at the transactions and seeing like, are there things that uh, are in there that shouldn't be? And is your number wrong? And is there a number that would be right? Because I care much more about someone having, like, on average doing okay than nailing their number every month. Because some months are more expensive than others. Um, Beyond that, every now and then I get someone who, um, we try and try and try, and they're just never able to stick to the number for whatever reason. And sometimes we just like accept that. Um, People, we try to keep in mind that we are trying to help people make the best of their situation, not try to get them to be someone that they're not. And there are some people who just thrive on building up credit card debt and then paying it off, building up credit card debt and paying it off. So often when I start working with someone, we look at their budget, figure out what can be going towards savings, what can be going towards spending. We build up a certain amount of emergency fund, we get rid of debt, and then we start focusing in on building up investments. Um, and if someone just can't get out of that cycle for whatever reason, sometimes we say, you know what, let's just accept that this is how your brain works. You thrive um, on the, like, that little bit of panic of like, oh shit, I need to, like, how did I get $10,000 in credit card debt? And then you go to town on it, and then it gets to zero, and then you get back, and then you build it back up over time. So what I ask people who are like that, like, accept that that's who you are for now, and let's set up some direct deposit that is elsewhere, and maybe we put, whatever we can spare, a couple $100, $1,000, depending on how much you make, into a savings account that has the best interest rate we can find, or directly into, Roth or brokerage account, depending on your situation, so that if we're never going to get to the place where you've got your emergency fund and no debt, and now we can go to town on investing, like, let's have some investing happening, and just accept the fact that we're never going to get to that place because that's just not who you are. Um, and um, uh, and this one isn't financial planner advice. Which, by the way, I find that to be very effective of people squirreling away, a little bit of money, so they're at least building up some net worth, and they can surprise themselves and be like, oh, I've been dealing with the, like, circle of credit card debt over here, but since I set up this uh, secret direct deposit that I did and then forgot about, I'm building up some uh, investment uh, investment wealth without realizing it, which is the best way to do it regardless. The other one would be doing transaction analysis to see if there's anything that you notice about yourself. Like a lot of times people like have, I don't even want to call it a spending problem, just like it's the world we live in encourages people to live this way. Like, are you um, are you short on time? And so are you doing things, are you trading time, money for time? Like, are you having to get sitters or use lots of takeout, or, you know, doing online shopping because you don't have time to go to stores? Um, it's very common for people who, have jobs or self-employed or running businesses, have kids who split their time between places to have to buy themselves time in exchange for money because they just don't have the time and energy to do things. Um, so looking at that and seeing like, is that just your reality right now? And sometimes it just means like, okay, well, maybe this is going to be reality until your kids are a certain age or until uh, your life circumstances change. Which related, sometimes people just don't make enough money. Like oftentimes we'll analyze stuff and be like, you're doing everything fine. There's nothing you could change except your income. And oftentimes, like incomes change, and all of a sudden the budget works now. So looking at ways like that's sounds like, oh, great advice, Lewis. Go make more money. Um, but it's true. Sometimes we just need to make more money, and all of a sudden, more revenue means things balance out better. Um, the last one would be if you find yourself doing retail therapy. That's where a lot of people um, have spending going that feels out of control. And uh, retail therapy is valid. It feels good. I will tell people like, if you can do retail therapy within the bounds of your budget, uh, awesome. If we need to make a line item in your budget for retail therapy, cool. But if it's more than that, maybe spend that money on real therapy instead and talk to um, a professional, a therapist, a psychologist to find out what is it that's going on in here and in here that is making you do things that are uh, not helpful for your finances, like that you don't actually want to do them, but you can't help yourself. So um, instead of having retail therapy, real therapy. And you know what? I did it for myself, did it for others. And oftentimes, like, you can't change your budget until you find your motivation. Um, I know this from experience. Like, want to, we always want to do better, but until we have to do better, it can be, you know, we can make ourselves do anything for a little bit of time, but it is until we have to do something that we can really change our behaviors. So figuring out, is there something that will make it to where you have to do it? So yeah, that is my very long answer to that particular question about what to do if you just have trouble sticking to your budget. Let's see what the other questions are. Um, Here's one. How does money turn into more money? I like money. That is a question and a statement. Um, Great question, though. The way that money turns into more money uh, is either through investing, and in my opinion, investing in low-cost, diversified portfolios for a very long time. That has been shown to be the most reliable way for someone to build wealth, but it does require patience. Um, so consistently investing into diversified portfolios. I like portfolios that are diversified across stocks and bonds in different countries, different industries, different companies. I like stocks that have very low expenses because we can't control what the market does, but we can control how much it costs for us to be exposed to the market, and portfolios that automatically adjust based on age and our timeline. Um, that said, right now, interest rates in savings accounts are really good. You can find savings accounts here on it's February 8th, 2023, that have interest rates close to 4%, and that's nothing to sneeze at if you've got some money that you can squirrel away. Only put money in the market if you're not going to touch it for a very long time, and by that I mean like 20 years, because the market is very volatile, and I have known people in, my previous life when I was working in the laboratory who had inappropriate portfolios, overly risky portfolios, and their portfolios crashed and they needed that money. So if you're trying to save for a house or a car or something in the next 5 to 10 years, the market is not the place to turn the stock market, that is not the place to turn money into more money. It is the most powerful way that we know of for regular people to build wealth over time, thanks to the magic, not the magic, the power of compounding returns that we get in the market. Beyond that, the only way to beat the market, there's a saying, is to have special knowledge. So I don't try to beat the stock market. I feel great if I get the market's returns and I pay very little in exchange for getting those returns. There's, millions of people out there buying and trading. You have to remember that if you are buying a stock, someone had to sell it to you. So I heard a good example of, like, if you're buying a stock, always imagine that on the other side of that trade is a team of Goldman Sachs analysts, and they're thinking like, I should get rid of this and I should sell it to this guy. So always keep in mind that even no matter how much you read on the internet or study, other people are doing the same thing, and the market is fickle and emotional and moves as a herd, but it is also the collective sum of knowledge about public markets. So the odds that you know something that other people don't is very low. And even if you know something that other people don't, just because you have something that on paper is a good idea, the market might not respond the way you anticipate. The markets in the short term are illogical and based on herd mentalities. Oh gosh, what's the term for it? Something exuberance, illogical exuberance or something. It's better than that. So what I encourage people is don't try to have special knowledge. I don't advise people on buying individual stocks or crypto or real estate or anything. Like, I don't have any special knowledge about those things. You probably don't have any special knowledge about those things. The one place where we have special knowledge and can beat the market, that's called our job. That's called work. I know more about being a financial planner than most people, and so I can start a financial planning company and get people to pay me in exchange for my special knowledge. So one way to turn some money into more money is to invest in yourself. If it means education, if it means your wellness so that you can perform better, hiring, this comes back to the last point, hiring help so that you can buy some time so that you can do more work and be more productive, investing in your career, certifications, getting into new industries, side hustles. The way to beat the market, like when someone asks, it's called alpha. How do I get alpha? In my opinion, you get the alpha that you get in this life is through your job and the work that you create for yourself. So you can go out and you can make more money for your hour's time by investing in yourself and in your talents. Other than that, just get market returns and be patient. That has been shown to be the most effective way to build wealth over time. Um, I had one other, if you're really struggling, and you don't have income, and this is a point I wish I had made last week when I was talking about trans and non-binary planning, planning for trans and non-binary folks. Anyone who's in a relatively, desperate situation where you can't increase income, where you can't make expenses go away, if you um, if you just need to make things work temporarily, it's okay to lean on friends and family and community. That is the time to ask for help. People who are relocating for their own safety, what I wish I'd mentioned last time is that a lot of times there are mutual aid groups in different cities that you can find. I don't know this. I've just heard that Facebook is kind of a great place to find mutual aid groups. I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I haven't been able to look into it. But often you can find mutual aid groups in different cities, and get help. And there's no shame in leaning on friends and family and being there for each other. And, it'll be your turn someday to be there for someone. Um, Investment and wealth isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about our communities. It's about our health. It's about society at large and our environment. So always be investing in those things. Invest in your friends and family with your time and energy, in your community by volunteering and doing works in your community. Um, and remember, anything where the returns are greater in the future for the effort or money put in today, that's an investment. And that's not just stocks and bonds. It's our wellness as individuals and as a society. Uh, Please keep sending me questions. I try to do this every week. I'm just going to check the chat real quick. It doesn't seem like there's any more questions. So I'm going to sign off and say thanks and stay money positive. You can reach out at moneypositive.com, Lewis, Lewis, at moneypositive.com. I was about to say have a great weekend because this is my last day. I'm going to go visit my brother for his birthday, so I am off the rest of the week. Have a great week. See y'all around. See y'all around next time.